Chapter 1, Bizarre Blizzards. One day a young man went into a golden hotel. It was so large and so big. There were waterfalls all over the walls and the floors were made of ice and diamond. He had been meanly wounded by men in shies ties just outside the hotel. They stole his wallet and all he owned. He went to the nice, neat, and swell hotel looking for salvation, but what he found was even greater than he thought. "Hello," said the receptionist. "Here's a place where all your wildest and nicest dreams come true. You only have to believe you know, so, looks like those ruffians the Blacktails got you, not to worry." A helix of little light particles began to encircle him like a dragon or like Twilight Princess or like floating water droplets rose off the ground and began to twirl around him, but all of a sudden his wound healed. "Thanks, so hey, we just spawned in this world, sorry but, where are we?" Max said. His name was Max by the by. Smiley face. "Max, you're in the Golden Hotel of Jesus Christ. These hotels were made by Jesus Christ to protect those who wish to do the right thing. You know how hard it is in the dark mirror after all." "The dark mirror, what's that? Is that the world we're in?" "Correct, Max. Also we know your name because we know you, Max. We dreamt you'd be here. In our dream we saw you'd make this world of dark a world of light. We'd be impressed, Max. Who you want to see in a Beiju? He can answer more of your questions than we can." "He's at the top floor." The receptionist Alex began to call Abeju and he answered. "Hello." "Hello Abeju, it's Alex. Max is here." "Perfect. Please send our nice friend up to our room right away. Tell him Kamina and Simone are here, but he must hurry for there's not much time until the black and white siren stops time again." "Very good, sir, consider it already done." "Bye Alex." "Goodbye Abeju." "Well Max," Abeju said, "you can head up to his room. He's in room DS15. He said Kamina and Simone were there. We have no clue who that is, but he said you'd know." "Good luck little man." "Thanks Alex." "God bless man, love you, thanks again." "God bless you too little hero, dot." Alex smiled warmly at Max. He said this with a soft excitement, like he knew this DB hard, like he knew everything. That man surely had the heart of God. The interior of the hotel was utterly golden, like soft and hard at the same time. It reminded Max of Hunter x Hunter, that one scene where Gon and Killua cut the lights off, or maybe like Grand Budapest Hotel. Max was surely and utterly discombobulated. Kamina and Simone. What like? Gurren Lagann. There wasn't time, surely we need to hurry, he thought to himself. Max was us by the way, or like, you, or you, or you. Max walked over to the elevator in disbelief, his wounds healed. Memories began to pour into him like an overflowing half-earth. He could conjure floating small ice over his right hand, so he did, or fire, or miasma, or electricity, or bubbles, or crystals, prisms. He walked over to the elevator dressed in a white t-shirt and blue jeans. His appearance was handsome, he looked nice, he had a small but confident stature. He walked over stairs or like obstacles or like hurdles and pressed the elevator button. Eventually the elevator opened and he went to the top floor of the Golden Hotel. The hallway was normal with beautiful and pretty carpet, or like ice or like fire. It changed before his very eyes, or it might have never even happened, to the mean or like rude or like impolite, that is. He skated or like slid or like ice skated, or like he wore a fake mustache, or like walked his dogs, or like petted and kissed his dogs. He knocked on door DS15 and Abeju opened the door. He was an angel. He had large, luxurious, white, feathery wings. Behind him were two little white figures, like the god from FMA. When Max entered the room it stayed the same size, or like got infinitely larger, or like the TARDIS, or like, yeah man, it was fucking crazy. Sorry for cursing by the way, but we curse, so yeah, if fucking you don't, cool. Please stay awesome and please read another book. The Bible might be a good option. Hi Abeju, we're Max. They shook hands. So we guess you guys are Kamina and Simone. They became drills, but began to speak. And like we don't curse too much, so that's good. Hi Max. Nice to meet ya. Me and Simone here are what you might call talking drills, but we like to take a humanoid form so we can have hands and stuff. Kamina said. Simone added, that's right Max. But no need to worry, we're gonna save the dark mirror and for the first time bring light to this damned world. There's many like us talking water, talking fire, talking desks even, or like even talking chairs, but all we know is what we are. We're not like men or like angels who know more than us in a way, but in a way we're fucking smarter than the sharpest tool in any fucking shed, and that's a fact. He gave a thumbs up and shape-shifted. He continued, we can even look just like human beings. But we figured you'd find it kind of funny if we appeared looking like this, like God in a way, for aren't we all God in a way? When we know one is all and all is one, we become limitless, but you maximum. You're special. It's rare for human beings to be nice or like neat, so we feel in a way you've been chosen to save mankind and the fate of every alien race. Max was concerned. This was a lot of info to take in. Who were those guys that jumped us? They stole our wallet, phone, headphones, and our jewelry. Fucking sons of damn bitches. They'll pay for that. What did Alex call them? Blacktails. They were like giant monsters, but like silhouettes. We just appeared by the old rundown fountain, hardly working, but still pouring out water, we guess. But then, those things saw us or like attacked us. We guess Alex couldn't see because the doors of the hotel were opaque. Then they ran away and we limped over to those automatic doors, but then we saw this beautiful lobby. Was there a ceiling? Things are so hard to remember sometimes. Alex, was he one of these alien guys? He looked pretty human, but that technique he used, oh yeah. Why does our memory keep cutting off stuff? We remember we were fighting, we guess blacktails, or we might have dreamt it. It's like our memories are all gone. If they were even there to begin with in the first place. Max. Abeja waved his hand in front of Max's face. Earth to Max, he said in a funny, almost robotic voice. These guys who jumped you, Max, how big were they? Abeja said. Enormous. Max replied. They were at least double our height. They were fucking gross, blacktails, huh? That's right. Abeja said in a quiet, confident tone. He pulled up a digital screen, or like many, with pictures of blacktails with descriptions of their height, weight, where they're found, and powers. Of course, everything isn't hard enough already, we guess. Blacktails can range from nearly microscopic to the size of buildings, or even planets. If we don't stop them, they won't just destroy Dark Mirror but all the planets in the universe as well. We know you're a skilled magic user, Max. More skilled than anyone, whereas we all have our areas of expertise. You seem to be able to conjure anything, but you must hone and sharpen your skills. Blacktails don't play around. There are human colonies all over Dark Mirror. It's called Dark Mirror because it's thought there's a second half of Earth just below this, so dark that there's no light there. But hopefully one day we can make the half of Earth light and make it just like this one, huh? So what do you say? Can you help us, Max? Abeja finished. He was a manly man, surely the kind to protect women and children. He spoke like he meant every word, like this wasn't his first rodeo, if you catch our drift. Sure. Why not? We don't really know much about magic or blacktails or anything really, but what we do know is that if someone needs our help, we'll help them if we can. Max said this with quiet confidence, a running theme among our heroes. Quiet confidence is knowing if someone won't listen to us if we're quiet, they surely won't listen if we yell. So listen, Max, we've got a game plan for 15 Maple Avenue. We know a drug deal's going down here between the Darktails. We figured we bust in the warehouse, kick some ass and flush the drugs down the drain. Kamina said. He seemed happy and excited. Max was sure he was a skilled and competent warrior, someone who wouldn't back down from a fight no matter what. So no offense, but like, where are the police? Max said. No police, no one really knows where this planet came from. We were notified of its existence just yesterday, that's when we figure it was made. There are small pockets of humans all over Black Mirror. They reside near golden hotels, but they're so scared of dark tales, or black tales, they won't enter them, or if they do they usually don't stay long. That's what makes you different, Max. You're not afraid of these guys, and it looks like you even got some superpowers there just to show 'em what for. Max laughed. We love to see it, nice people doing the right thing. We gotta admit though, we don't remember much of anything, even we know it's unlikely for everyone to do the right thing in this world. That's so fucking mad to us. You can be happy and safe, but instead you choose to live poor, fucking depressed because a bunch of fucking monsters tell you to. Could never be us. Max said. He seemed kind of angry, tears began to stream down his face. The other men felt for him. It must have been hard. They came from alien races where it seemed everyone was nice, but he was different. Maybe had he been the only man it would have been different, but he wasn't. There were men, and they usually fucking weren't the nicest, but sometimes. But we're sure he pitted the women and children too. So when's this supposed to take place? Max said with quiet confidence. We'll be sure to be there no matter what. He raised his arm in the air and made a triumphant fist with it. Don't oppress the poor because they're poor. This Bible verse flashed into Max's head, but he didn't know what the Bible was or anything, but he knew it was true. Well, Max, it's tomorrow night, take our advice, get some fucking shut-eye. Healing doesn't mean you've forgotten the memory of pain. Take a shower. Eat something. You'll need your energy, kid. God bless you, man, you're a good kid, Max. Abijah said. He was like an older brother to Max, and he was older. Max was 26, Abijah was 30, Kamina was 30, and Simone was 20. Abijah was a good leader. He had the nice, neat, swell charisma of someone who knew how to handle pressure. Poor Max. For now it seemed he was the least of which, but that didn't mean he wasn't going to be the greatest someday. They all hugged and shared partings. Later, buddy. Love you, and don't worry about tomorrow night. We'll have about 15 people there who got you covered. We know you're just getting used to your powers. You might not seem that strong, but your ability to conjure anything is an invaluable asset. Abijah was very bubbly and upbeat when he said this, but then he began to cry, got really quiet and serious, and hugged Max really hard. He said, listen, we love you, you're the greatest, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. He emphasized the word anyone in a way that's hard to describe on paper, but you'd know it if you heard it. He smiled and wiped his tears. His hands were on Max's shoulders, his arms were fully extended, and he smiled in Max's face. Max was only 5 feet 6 inches, Abijah was 5'10" with a blonde bowl cut. A slim cut, but built, and a lean but muscly figure. Kamina was olive-skinned with black gelled hair and a similar build to Abijah, but Simone was at least 6'1" and really skinny. Max was thin. He loved food and always thought it'd be funny if he had a little bit of a beer gut, but the problem was he just didn't drink. Max smiled back at Abijah. Love you, man. Thanks for those encouraging words. We might not remember who we are, but we know who we're going to be. Someone who loves his friends like you guys. Abijah, Kamina, Simone, and hopefully someone who will flip this mirror into a world of light and happiness where everyone can be accepted for who they are regardless of their race, height, weight, gender, or sexual orientation. That's what we fucking like to hear. Everyone said in unison. Listen, we know when things get hard in this world you wanna. Kamina made a motion of his thumb going across his neck. Let me tell you, man. Life is about your ass handed to you until you memorize what the fuck it looks like. Then kicking other people's asses until they don't have any damn ass left. Love you and God bless. He had a quiet confidence. Max cried. Right, he said and nodded quickly once. His voice broke. We're all counting on you, Max, so don't let us down. If you need anything, remember we're here, but please don't, 'cause I'm kinda tired. He laughed. He was like a chibi anime with a huge sweat drop. Duh. Well, love you guys, see you later. Max smiled with his tongue out and a peace sign. His eyes were completely closed, then he vanished. Well guys, let's hope for the best, huh? The remaining members of team all said. They were chibi or vanished or slept or played video games or trained outside. Remember, like Ellen White said, guys, it's open-ended for a reason. God made another floor on top of Golden Hotel for Max. There was no elevator to it or no other way to it but just teleporting in or going through a window, but there was a door to the roof. The suite was huge. It had little stairs that boxed the area that lead to a lower floor about a foot down. It had a huge luxurious bed with fine sheets and super soft sheets and blankets with high thread counts. It had a fridge in a wooden wall that blended in seamlessly with lots of food and drinks. It had a personal pool and hot tub with tons of video games and a high-tech desktop with a water-powered build with rainbow lights. There were huge red curtains that elegantly folded into themselves that tied at the middle. The floorboards were polished wood that looked kind of burnt in places. Max was near where a door would be and he walked over to his bed and sat on it. Tomorrow night, huh? We hope we'll be able to help. We can barely produce any puffs of fire or splashes of water. We might just have to watch, or like conjure someone a sandwich or something. Max began to cry. He cried all the time. He turned the TV on and started watching Dragon Ball. He saw how Goku said, "Oh man, it's not like we can fly or anything," he cried. "Goku," he thought humorously and a little disheartedly, "how far you came, friend. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. You were flying in DBZ, so we just have to be patient and take our time with stuff. We're like you, Goku, we don't feel so strong now, but one day we will." Max chose Dragon Ball because it had the scene in the beginning of the first episode. Contradictions contradict, friends. How does Max know Dragon Ball if he doesn't have any memories? They might flash into his head like lightnings at night's fall, or like tears, or like fucking shooting stars, or like apples off trees. Wind by Naruto is a good song. It teaches us the value of pain, friendship, adventure, and fighting. Listen to it if you get the chance. Max had ice cigarettes. They were literally just sticks of ice, but with magic he could inhale, and ice dust and particles that glowed and glittered would fill his lungs to calm him down. Oh kids, he thought, he loved to smoke, but the cigarettes had fake smoke, but his kids didn't know what he meant, so to break it down or fucking demonstrate or like condescend even, he made these cigarettes. Fire cigarettes were sticks of fire that produced fire sparks and glitter, or even threw flames that were huge. Electricity cigarettes tingled his lungs as the electricity would dance, bounce, jump, and drip on the inside of his iron lungs, or diamond or ruby or emerald or sapphire. He took a toke of his ice cigarette while lying on his back and blew the ice dust up. "Where are you now, kids?" Max wept. He had memories of raising children. They were a rowdy, rambunctious lot. They were poor orphans he adopted in a place a lot like Dark Mirror, probably more dark than black, 'cause that's a really popular show, but God bless, they squatted in an abandoned factory. He actually found them all in a box. They were dogs at first, but he made them people. They were all girls 7. They were poor but taught them to play music, to street perform for food. When Max got magic powers, he moved them to the Arctic because he wanted to live in an igloo, and that's where they lived. Elizabeth, Ashley, Alexandra, Lindsay, Angel, Diana, and Ellen. Max was an orphan too. He was 10 when he adopted them. Him and God helped raise the kids. The kids fought with God a lot like Job's kids, but they were good kids. He loved them, they just had some chips on their shoulders, that's all. Elizabeth liked dogs a lot. She also loved code geass and exercising. She wasn't afraid of anything, and she liked fire the most, so we can also call her Fire. Ashley was tall and loved fashion and modeling. She always had big dreams of being a model and wearing expensive clothes. Nothing wrong with that. She loved water, so we'll call her Water. Alexandra was tall too and blonde. She loved hanging on trees and reading Max's Dark Academy series he'd write on a laptop he got from playing music. She loved fishing and camping too. She liked electricity, so we'll call her Spark. Lindsay was a bookworm. She liked learning about world affairs and was very cautious to avoid doing drugs and alcohol. She never even tasted one of the cigarettes. She liked the forest and fishing and camping too. She loved green light and leaves, so we'll call her Leaves. Angel loved video games. She had a Switch she took with her everywhere she went. They lived near a river, so that's how they bathed. If they were lucky, they could get a fire going to boil some water to get it hotter. She loved camping too, but usually just sat at the camp playing her video games. She liked ice, so we'll also call her Ice. Diana was tall and loved to sing. She loved Britain and fish and chips, Big Ben, the London Eye and Princess Diana, who is who Max named her after. She loved playing Mario Kart with Angel, and she loved playing as Baby Mario, but Angel usually picked Baby Luigi. Diana loved the idea of royalty and she hoped to go to heaven one day. They did go, but there was an earthquake that knocked Max out of heaven down to the dark mirror. Diana loved light, so we'll call her Light. Last but not least was Ellen. She also loved Mario Kart but preferred Smash Brothers. She loved her igloo and had posters of Justin Bieber all over her walls. Everything was made of ice, but it was the only conceivable place Max could think to go without the bad influence of the world. He also didn't like taxes, so that helped. Ellen conjured little icebergs and Mario characters no bigger than a thumb for Max and her sisters. Max kept them in a glass case in his room. Max was single. He felt like he didn't have time to date with all his children. Ellen loved shadows, so we can call her Ultraviolet, Blacklight, Shadow, Moon, or something like that. Max laid on the bed and looked up at the ceiling about 20 feet above him. He had white sock on, blue jeans, a white t-shirt, and as he took another toke of his ice cigarette he thought about what Kamina said. We're all inanimate objects who kind of came to life. No need to look at the beginning of the book, he said something like that. Maybe Max dreamt it, or the conversation was longer than we thought, who knows, man. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Max took another hit of his ice cigarette. As he looked at the snowflakes in front of his face, the background blurred and he focused on the individual snowflakes. Some were spider webs. Some were spirals. Some were dragons or like Ouroboroses, some were horses or like ducks. Kids, we don't know how Maxie ended up here, but we know he'll get home one day. Max didn't like to be called dad like a modern Atticus Finch. He knew God was the only true father. Max picked up a book next to him. The Fault in Our Stars. He loved this book a lot. He read it to his kids. It's a heartbreaking tale about love, tragedy, and the value of strength and living without someone we love. He read the first chapter, noting the excellent vernacular, nice imagery, and interesting characters. The only difference was this was a fake story and that was real life. No, just kidding, we just love John Green. It's hard to know the difference between the real and the fake sometimes. Max began doing push-ups. He had a cross necklace and would blow fire at the fireproof wooden glossy panels. They were already burned anyway. Max could conjure about 20 feet of 3-inch fire. This was true of all his elements. Apparently aliens could conjure planet-sized fireballs. Max had a long way to go if he was going to save the Dark Mirror. But maybe there was a black silhouette half Earth under Earth, like two spoons touching, like these silhouette black tails. He might be able to make this place a utopia, with golden hotels, or like Ponyo, or like water, or like light, or like water, or like light. Kids, what did Maxie always tell ya, huh? Anything's possible with God. Max considered what his friends said. Get some sleep. We got an uphill battle tomorrow night, huh? Sorry guys, we'll have to sleep when the sun's out. Max thought with a quiet smile. His head was tilted down. He smoked his ice cigarette, then disappeared. Max was in a steel-walled gymnasium with glossy wooden panels, skinny, burned. Max was the greatest, but he remembered it all. People in heaven. He didn't remember any talking chains, no offense. He was attacked by blacktails and lost most of his ability to conjure great big firestorms, and instead was left with little fire strands or ropes. Max had a mansion with his kids in heaven. Sure, there wasn't ice, but at least there weren't taxes. He remember being at home one day with his dogs when suddenly there was an earthquake that knocked him off his hammock or like bed it's open-ended Yano. His cigarette fell out his mouth and the sky turned blood red and dripped blood like rain. The blacktails started attacking people and Max fought them with a lot of might but they overpowered him and he fell out of heaven like that old story of Lucifer in the Bible, but the difference was Max was a good man, no angel. So like Mario in Super Mario Galaxy he fell away and well, we know the rest of the story. He was near a broken fountain with chunks of the outer concrete edge missing that wasn't making too much water when the blacktails came and beat him up. At this point he lost a lot of his memories. Even now his memory wasn't very good, though through no fault of his own. They stole his stuff, his phone, his wallet, his earphones and left him with a huge wound through his stomach. With unbelievable strength he walked or like Yano, if it's too unrealistic we crawled or like Yano, it's just we're pretty sure we said walked at first, but no worries it's open-ended for a reason man. When the blacktails stole Max's stuff, they ran away so there was the Black Knight Street. The buildings all looked condemned, the wail of sirens slashed at the night sky like portals from Twilight Princess. But there was this enormous hotel that touched clouds that looked like it was made from solid gold. Max entered to a pleasant pop song about not being anxious about life and just shaking anxiety off. Nice song. But there he met Alexander, probably Alexander, who explained he was on Dark Mirror. As Max thought of all these things he practiced his martial arts but it just wasn't the same, his fire was so small now, his water was so small now, and he could hardly make an igloo with the amount of ice or snow he was making. Fire reminded him of Elizabeth. They were all his favorite in a way. She loved the unpredictability of fire. The warmth, the heat, the way it could light up any tundra. Poor Elizabeth. Even now Max wished Elizabeth could hear him so she could know everything would be okay in the end. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? God bless Wiz. Elizabeth, it'd be selfish not to think of her, we're not the best, it's just sometimes we get scared. Wicked people might ask why 7 girls, why not boys? As stupid as the wicked act, it's strange they could even think of this question. Well, we wanted girls. We felt like it's what we wanted though we love men too, it's not that complicated at all, we might like girls more than boys probably that's it, we always have, just makes us happier we guess. Max's backstory is a little complicated. Max was also just a simple dog. But God raised him. The problem was God was poor too, no one knew he was God. Max was taught music and the hardships and difficulties of life. Max named Elizabeth after Queen Elizabeth II for she loved the Queen a lot. Sometimes things might not always make sense but that doesn't mean we shouldn't say it. In fact, it's the complete opposite. If we said things that always made sense how boring would that be? Max listened to Nightmare by Halsey while training. It's a really nice song about the tragedies of what society expects us to be and how if we break out of their mold we might make a self-empowered, self-loving anthem to our tragic, but beautiful life. Max loved to use chains to fight with little hooks at the end like the hookshot from Zelda. His chains were only 20 feet long now and very small but he made work on his little punching bags, piercing them, but letting the sands spill out almost like the sands of time that give us so much anxiety. Ice pellets flew fast enough to dig wounds, but not fast enough to go all the way through a target. Rocks were the same way, pebbles now, but no boulders. Fire was now thin and wasn't exactly cooking a steak or wagyu anytime soon. Water might make someone feel like they're drowning so it surely wasn't a pool. Max continued with fire, water, ice, rocks, chains, and the like for many hours. He was sweaty. He was kind of fat if you want to see it that way. Open rebukes nicer than hidden love, no offense, honestly, but Hollywood changes how these characters look so much anyway. We start to begin to wonder if it really matters. We could see Max as a little fat man, black, Mexican, Indian, whatever you want man, you're cool. He could have average arms for real strength is God, magic, anime, and all that stuff you hear on the internet, but working out is surely good. it just is about health we guess, but magic lets us love all kinds of bodies. God bless Halsey and Colors, a nice and wonderful song about the tragedy of unrequited love and how we can love ourselves by learning from past mistakes to find better lovers and better futures. Max's earpods disappeared. Max began to shower in his hotel suite. He felt it wasn't cool enough, but he didn't have a choice, but he was grateful in a way. If this was old Max, he'd make a waterfall hot like a shower, or like go like that. While Max could still teleport, he couldn't affect such a great body of water anymore, so the waterfall would still be cold. He could transport to a hot spring, but he liked and loved showers a lot. Max liked and loved to sing in the shower and dance. He would listen to Taylor Swift. Panic at the disco, rap, didn't matter to him, he just loved life a lot. The water was cleansing, hot and gentle, like a hug from God, or like joy, or like joy, or like. Max loved to repeat himself. It seemed some human beings just didn't listen. The shower was hot and steamy, not like, in a fucking weird way or anything. It's funny how mean beings can shower all they want, but still feel dirty. The water rolled off his body onto the floor. No amount of water can clean a monstrous soul, maybe a dirty one. Probably only God could clean such a wicked soul, but still, water feels so good. Like Ellen White said, shower as much as possible, at least twice a week. Open rebuke's nicer than hidden love. Some fuckers out there might hear it and mock it, but just know showers were different back then compared to how they are now. He liked making his hair straight from water, for it was usually curly, right? What you know, right? He smiled. In a way, this was his internal dialogue. God bless Michael Scarn. He might even be the one writing this book. Water cleanses, water. Ashley was water. She'd like to become little puddle and just sleep all day, immune to cold, immune to not eating fish. Max loved Ashley a lot. She always had a chip on her shoulder comparing herself to her sisters. He loved them all equally. Ashley felt too tall sometimes. They were all married too. Max stayed single though, too much to do, but there wasn't marriage in heaven. You gotta understand, Max was just a father figure to the girls. It wasn't like that. Why, they were pups of the same litter, if you wanna see it like that. Lots of this is metaphor, so yeah. Anyway, fucking, the water ran down Max's body, but cleaned his soul as well. Nothing felt better than a nice hot shower, and Max knew that. He could stay in there forever, but it's hard to put ice or snow in hot water. Max stepped out the shower filled with joy, but optimism as well. The floor under his feet was upside down and kept flipping over until it knew it existed. Chains flew across the universes in his mind, slowly but like lightning too. Noless, a word Max made, a secret like his heart. Kidding, it means lightning. Max could flip his bathroom upside down as many times as he wants, but his rosary will keep falling onto his own shoulders. Fucking spin it one way, spin it the other. That's how he was. Infinite chains are a ladder in an ether we keep flipping or spinning, or like twirling or like swirling. All good is from God, so God bless God for thinking of this, not us, but in a way us for sure, 'cause God's way smarter than this. Max put on his boxers, basketball shorts, and a tank top. He laid on his bed and watched Inuyasha until he started playing Desire of Ages by Ellen White. He listened to it every night. It was 1 a.m., fucking humiliating. He thought he'd be up for way longer, but it's cool. Even better, he hated staying up, though he loved nighttime. Max woke up at 8 a.m. He had a digital alarm clock next to him, black with green numbers. It was 8 a.m. exactly. He blinked several times, trying to digest how grateful he was to see the day's light again. Light. Diana. Diana had a good husband. Max loved him a lot. He was a nice and successful man, a businessman, stocks and that. He wasn't the nicest though. None of their husbands were, so Max always had some resentment toward them for that. Diana loved light. She said dogs can only dance in the light, for without the light, what dog could dance? She loved to picture dogs dancing. She loved Chinese food, Dahakat, Agara Hills, and breaking her dad's heart. She had a chip on her shoulder like her sisters. She lied too much, Like chains flying across a universal white ether, she seemed to just go on autopilot sometimes, just going through the motions of life without stopping to think about how grateful she should be. She loved to dance, a silly girl. Daddy's little heartbreaker. Honestly, she got it from her dad, he was cold like her. Max thought of going to a store like Walmart and thought how funny it'd be to have a Walmart in his book, but he remembered, there were no Walmarts here. The golden hotels were safe havens made by God to help the oppressed, but they only ever went in sometimes, so aliens usually would inhabit them so they wouldn't be empty. Max teleported to what he thought a store might be on Dark Mirror, and what he saw was a bunch of rotten, nasty, mean, rude, and disgusting food with black tails everywhere. The clothes were rotted, there was dirt and filth everywhere. He thought this might happen, so he really came to practice his combat skills before the fight tonight. It was 8:50 a.m. Light was seen from the Golden Hotel, but Dark Mirror was consumed by a perpetual night. There were some lights in everywhere just so the blacktails could see how ugly they were, but that's it. Max sent some shotgun shots, sound barrier piercing supersonic waves made of negative ether, light and fire. Fucking, they seemed like they were in pain, but they could stretch out their arms very far like knives, so Max had to be careful or he might end up on a platter. Max liked to carry a little bottle of highly explosive and volatile bubble soap with a bubble wand for good measure. Tiny but effective. Not like the planets he blew in heaven, but he had to try. He got really close to a giant blacktail and blew the bubbles in its face and teleported away before they could pop or blow up. It was a small explosion, but it surely did some damage. Max could fly, and so he chose to because the floor was so disgusting. A blacktail sent its arm knife at him but leaned back in mid-air and dodged the attack. The arm made a U-turn and came toward Max. A fist formed out the arm like elastic and hit Max. He was winded, he didn't know how to dodge the second attack, so he just fell to the floor. It was covered in disgusting sludge and filth. It's hard to explain, it was surely damn disgusting in this store. Max wanted to subdue a dark tail before he left. He sent a water spear through one and it became like sludge, whereas they usually looked like a black light or like a hologram. Max almost wanted to wake up from a bad dream, but he knew this was no dream. Blacklight. Ellen. Now it's not that Ellen was particularly a fan of blacklight but shadows. She was fascinated by darkness and loved Shikamaru from Naruto. Shadow-type Pokemon and ghost types. She loved Pokemon Legends, Arceus. She was a silly girl who surely loved lasagna so much. Max loved her a lot, but she had a chip on her shoulder. About how she told her kids Max wasn't as good a person as he was, but she loved Max more than anyone. She'd even sin and love Max more than God, but Max knew even in those moments she was still a good person. It might not have been a sin necessarily, but it could surely prevent some happiness from shining in the clouds of the eyelids of the transparent white clouds, blue skies. Anime Ellen lays on the ground and wakes up under a tree and blinks her eyes to see Max smiling over her. When we blink a lot, we open the possibilities of raising children, feeling ground under our feet, and feeling the warm hug of a loved one, face to face, and heart to heart. Ellen loved chess and was a nice, cute, bubbly girl. Max loved her a lot. Max remembered when he fell out of heaven how he reached for kids. They held each other at the ankles like a human chain and reached out to grab him, but as the chunks of ground fell out of heaven, Max fell out too. He fell like lightning onto the dark mirror. The semi-sphere waterfalling earth that floated in the middle of outer space. Other lightning bolts fell to heaven, but Max didn't know who they were. He doubted anyone else could make it in such a nasty place, though he didn't think too highly of himself. Maybe he deserved it. Max thought all these things while fighting the blacktails in that abandoned Walmart. Max's eyes began to glow, but he didn't know why. A gauge was in the bottom left of his vision. Max unleashed such a vicious fireball he eviscerated the entire Walmart. We see, it's like a fighting video game. If we fight long enough we can get some of our power back. Well, that's nicer than one. Still, this is nothing compared to the power we had. We'll have to use this smartly. There might be a time limit on it, so it might have been nicest we used it right away. The Dark Tails were terrified, so they brought out fireproof shields. Conjurers, for fuck's sake. Look how we don't even know if we should quote man, 'Cause it's us. Max. Anywho. Max sent a lightning bolt at one and they all let out a lot of moans. They were terrified, they couldn't comprehend how we used electricity, and fire. There must be a timer to their conjure ability, they probably assign who they should fight then. Too bad we can conjure anything we want. They began to laugh. Max assumed it was because his electricity attack wasn't very strong. Max teleported back to Golden Hotel, but God forced the monsters to keep laughing because it aggravated them. Max began playing Breath of the Wild. He loved this game. It taught him a lot about adventure, patience, love, and hope. Golden hotels, they aren't heaven, but in a way we know they're nicer and neater for it's God's will. We just wish we knew this happened, but life comes with its fair share of difficulties. Dark tales, giant, seemingly smart beings who live to only hurt and destroy good things, sounds a lot like the wicked, but even so, we know the wicked went to hell where they turned to ash, or they might not have, but no, these aren't human beings, they're just monsters. They seem to be able to conjure power-deflecting items to fight the aliens, but, with our power to conjure any power, we don't know if it'll be so effective. Pain, those things look like they're in pain. They give on groans, moans, like zombies. Quotes are funny, haha, God bless em. A fashion alien came up to Max by the pool. A walking shirt. Hi Max. We figured you were kinda lonely, so we thought we'd say hi. Our name's Eliza, we love music, dancing, ellipses, dyeing our hair, and of course, fashion. Nice woman. She looked so pretty, like a human being, but her true form was a shirt. These are our friends Max. Max introduced himself, a pair of pants, nice man. Ironed and all of, dat. Jason was a jacket. Lacey was a hairband, hard covered in cloth, that kind. She looked nice. Honestly, we wish we were a hairband. We bet she makes hair look great. Eliza was a ponytail. And Joe was a pair of hairbands. They were regular size, but you knew when Max was skinny and became huge. Then small. Lovely human beings. Max began to cry. It felt good. Max was so happy whenever anyone did the right thing. We all cried. Jay said, until they teleport out cool and all and begin to snow. They bite or play. To this day, this is one of Max's favorite memories, swimming in his clothes, kinda like a huge washing machine. No matter how hard life gets, we always have our friends to hand. Eventually, they got out dry off Max went to the dojo where he met some talking swords. It reminded him of Ranma or like Kazu no Stigma or like Gauron High School Host Club. Max took off kendo, clothes and bowed to the swords. Apparently their wooden swords The swords became human beings and began sparring Max using wooden swords. They fought intensely. Max's large weight didn't make him sluggish or slow at all. Sometimes he wished he was skinny, which he just thought it was humorous and like that. The Kendo masters had much to teach Max of stance, power, control, and how learning the sword was like learning God, for God was also a sword, or like pants, or like shirts, or like socks, or like fire, or like water. Fires and or Elizabeth. She always had a hard time listening to Max in school. Max taught his father God. He homeschooled them. She liked to make mean, rude jokes with her sisters. Sometimes she lost her power and nasty and even unbearable. Max loved her all the same. He knew when she came around they were honest commercials. Ashley was even meaner than Elizabeth. She had another one down. Good life, and bad life, sometimes was arrogant and narcissistic. Girl, but lacked proper discipline. Sniper got them! Max and Mrs. Kid. It was for the best this happened. They didn't know it was Kid's big sin. Not to say they couldn't make it to heaven. The sword fighters were built with the sweat and lotus line. No helmets. They were like no helmets. Helmets like halfway through or like something like that. Max took his helmet off and squirted water all over his face from his squirt water bottle. Andrew walked up to Max and placed his right hand on his right shoulder. Max said, grass walk on first on That's job. Your skills are to be ended shortly. That way, son.
I do believe this is ours.
Hardships.
You are an artist, and this vehicle is your brush.
Jack was 23, and John was 16. Jack and John were Andrew's sons, though we knew what this actually meant. God made all these beings where there's no sense. The backyard was beautiful. It looked like the backyard of the a clacking bamboo on rock that hits the rock when it fills up with water. There were many giant empty green grassy fields that people practiced. Now to enter this place we went. Sniper got them! Which was important to this area. Not exactly what we had to think about the grassy fields. Take us all out. Money, flattery, blazing. She often left the ways of God for frivolous living and simple dog. She was always praying for that dog. She loved persimmons. She could grow the sweetest persimmons, and Max loved eating them, and she loved eating his apples. She made sweet tangerines, oranges, grapes, She loved walking barefoot on grass. She loved apples to make applesauce and apple juice. She was a nice, loving, and kind girl. Max prayed for her.
The enemy is about to prevail. Do not allow them.
in heaven. Elizabeth always wished to be a Google when she was younger, just a walking, talking, shit-talking mushroom. Max always said she was shy and anxious about so many things, but she had her own life, and she had a good heart. Though Max
Sniper!
waterfalls falling off the edges, the golden hotels were see from space it just looked like black silhouettes of buildings with water falling off the sides, but it just might sparkle to indicate there's just the smallest amount of Max always thought of those dogs. He didn't have much else in this world. He had 7 dogs, some animals, card, no
Just wasn't enough that time, Spartan.
He had a lot, but in a way those were his only friends. Everyone else in heaven seemed more unreliable, and he'd never met the aliens. Money can never fill the void of true love and friendship. Max missed heaven, playing Quidditch, playing with dogs, hoverboarding, but now he was still in heaven in a way, but a crueler heaven, an uglier one. Poor dogs, a phrase Max said often, never giving themselves enough credit. Elizabeth, Ashley, Alexandra, Lindsay, Angel, Diana, and Ellen, the 7 dogs of Max's heart, one for every day of the week. Poor doggies, they always tried their best. Meanies denounced them so much, calling them goody 2-shoes or whatever that means. He loved those dogs, soft shampoo fur, always smiling, biting shoes and feet, sleeping, running, swimming, good dogs, just a little misled and lost but his friends at the end of the day. Poor dogs. Max prayed for them, for Satan has asked to sift them like wheat. Those dogs cried, they languished in anguish, they didn't know why the world was so cruel, but they did their best, and at the end of the day that's all that really mattered. Poor dogs. Max was always saddened by animal abuse. Animals are our best friends. They offer comfort, cozy cuddles, soft shampoo fur, you can lightly bite them, you can kiss them, you can hold them, rock them, make them dance, dress them up, put sunglasses on them, shirt, make them DJ. Ha 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 ha. You gotta love animals. To Max the saddest thing is when a dog cries, cause you can tell they're trying to be so strong during it. They're so confused and hurt. We love dogs, there are a limited amount of dogs in heaven. Poor dogs. Surely was a dog in a dog world. In a way Max wrote this book for his children so they learn to do the right thing. Poor dogs. God, Max's heart was broken. He might as well change the name of the book to Dempo, or Dogs. Max hit his nice cigarette, he blew our carriages, TVs, Lincoln iron boots, biting wolfos, the nice cavern and the remote eating ramen. He liked to make little snow figures, his nice smoke, though it was more like ice particles. Max passed his cigarette to Andrew, Jack, and John. Bear in mind guys, John was 16. But it was more like Kevin than a cigarette. Don't smoke, kids, and don't let fucking idiots tell you a nice cigarette is a cigarette. Well guys.
Super Fiesta.
He got up and put his fist into his open hand and kept the hand flat and proud to show dignity and respect. Keep talking so much, we thank you for your kindness, niceness, neatness, swellness, polite manners, and hospitality. Proud back. You're welcome back here at any time, Max. Good luck, son, said Andrew.
Earn more kills than your opponents to win.
For a while. Max wept. They smiled at each other, then Max vanished. It was now 5 p.m. Max went to a beach. He met a talking beach ball.
Deadly accuracy,
More people.
Spartan.
The kids were sand buckets, sand pails, sand
Enemy shields down.
At that moment the beautiful woman walked up to Max. Hi. And she was so excited and happy she kinda screamed. Max looked up, his large stomach scorched, and even the summer sun. Our name's Max. Max said. He smiled. It seemed Max fancied Jackie, but let's watch. We just got here. Jackie said, smiling and she
Shields down.
Cremation complete.
But yeah, know that earthquake happened and we fell out. But actually now that we think of it, we've been here a few times, we've been here some weeks. Max believed her, but he thought the earthquake that happens to me. Memories come. Max said. Why? God said this would happen. We went back to Earth as punishment for not being great today up in heaven. He also said he'd go later, but he couldn't. It wasn't just as punishment, but he was trying to prove evil was worse than good, just like good was better than we knew. Max was heartbroken. Such a beautiful girl in such an evil place. Max said, if we had to guess, we were too afraid to
Lost a teammate.
why are you afraid of those douchebags? Blacktails are nothing more than monsters who think they're Jesus Christ himself. Nothing to be afraid of. Jackie was crying. It's just, we feel like sometimes we might love our own family more than God, which feels right. We know we can't get that back. In a way it's good. That's what God would say just to be honest. We lose our rock when we lose God. Jackie was talking Max yes. There wasn't kissing in heaven, but Max assumed it was okay down here. Max wasn't the best, which is why he ended up here. Any more mistakes?
Enemy shields down.
Listen, Jackie, we know you're not
Fail.
Jackie kept crying. Max felt bad for her. Listen, Max said. We love and like you a lot. Platonically and romantically. It's just we want to make sure it's okay with God. But Max and God didn't care, so long as they weren't in heaven eternally, why at least kissing was wrong to say they did kiss. They kissed a lot, and Max told Jackie herself, she said on this hot summer day in the hotel room of a beach towel. Our name's Jackie Johnson. We went to Connecticut College and majored in art. It was in a town called New London. We smoked and drank, but we made sure to go to church, read our Bible, do mission trips, and help the poor. But we never fell in love. We're sorry.
Lost
Max,
the lead.
we love you, A&D. No sex is fun. We just feel like it's hard to tell someone we love you without sex, but we know that's our fault, not God's. Max replied, Jackie.
Enemy halfway to victory.
Being monogamous, that's why we prefer being a virgin. Jackie replied with a smile, well, we can still kiss and pray. She was very close to Jackie. She said with a smile. She inched closer toward him while speaking, and then they made out again. Max when they said,
Teammate.
for better or for worse. Kissing surely wasn't sex. Max was just confused, but surely felt a little sexist. But wouldn't it be bad if he was okay with Jackie kissing other men? Wasn't it more acceptable for a man to do it than a woman? Max wasn't the best, but it wasn't sex, and it wasn't going to be, so we don't know how it's feeling if there's no sex and the women know. Or is it even hard?
Enemy shields down.
Things. Room for one, please, a little white man said. Why it's. The little white man pointed toward his nose at himself. When we say little white man again, we mean like the God from FMA. Jesus Christ, baby. Alex ran from behind his desk in front of Jesus, who backed up and bowed down.
Shields.
Your Highness. Maximus, we heard he's committing adultery on the beach. God said and smiled.
Enemy team
and
nearing
he
victory.
smiled more and pointed his thumb at his team smile. Surely you jest, Lord, calling him but adultery he sets. Alex said, should we take the elevator? God was smiling but said just like he wanted to himself, and when he said Yano he tucked his checkmark thumb and index under his white chin. Well, there's nothing wrong with exercise, sir. Can you believe Max he's so big he might feel all any moment? Alex said, he had a top voice, he was kinda like that examiner from Hunter x Hunter, the one who can run for miles. God stopped smiling and frowned but then smiled again this time. Alex could don't that change. He said he frowned again. Right. Very good, sir.
5 minutes remaining.
They can't run from you.
Here's a room key, Jesus, you go right on up. Alex said, thank you. Jesus said, letting the key dangle in his right hand while he held it up. He swung the key which looked like a traditional key and a key card on a keychain while dancing and whistling over to the elevator. The elevator bumped and smiled. He hit the e-cigarette and said, don't discriminate. When he said his, the key thumbs up. He said it as if he was looking at the camera. He walked in the elevator to everyone. They all screamed positive compliments at him. The doors closed and the screen went black. Like 3 feet tall.
Defeat.
Jesus exited the elevator door and coughed as he waved smoke away from where a nose would be. We wish we